Welcome back. Today we bring you another inspiring tale of an entrepreneur and businessman. Without further delay, let's dive right in. Some stories in Silicon Valley are about great products, some are about bold investments, but very few combine both and still go further, reaching into politics and shaping the future of entire industries. Garry Tan's journey is one of those rare stories. From a self-taught programmer at 14 to the CEO of the world's most selective startup accelerator, his path is filled with unexpected turns. Yet the most surprising moments of his life don't come from his successes in tech alone, but from the battles he chose to fight outside it. Garry Tan's story begins in 1981 in Winnipeg, Canada. His father came from Singapore. His mother was of Burmese Chinese descent. When Garry was 10 years old, his family moved to Fremont, California. There, at American High, he nurtured an early obsession with computers. By 14, he was already teaching himself to program, even landing his first job by cold calling companies listed in the Yellow Pages. In 1999, he entered Stanford University, one of the world's most influential centers for technology. Over the next 4 years, he studied computer systems engineering, sharpening skills that would define his career. After graduation, Garry began at Microsoft, but soon took a defining step. He became the 10th employee at Palantir Technologies. At Palantir, he was part of the engineering team for Palantir Finance, working on quantitative analysis platforms. He even designed Palantir's logo and wordmark, leaving behind a lasting imprint on the company's identity. In 2008, he left to start his own venture. Alongside Sachin Agarwal, he co-founded Posturous, a blogging platform that quickly gained traction. In 2012, Twitter acquired Posturous for $20 million. Though Twitter later shut it down, Garry wasn't finished. Determined to continue, he co-founded Posthaven to give users a permanent home for their blogs. A year earlier, in 2011, Garry had already taken on a new role, designer in residence and then partner at Y Combinator. His contributions there were immense. He spotted talent, pushed design to the forefront, and backed startups that would later become giants. One of his boldest early bets was on Coinbase, then a tiny idea in the world of cryptocurrencies. He also helped secure $7 million in venture capital funding for YC alumni like Instacart and Coinbase. By 2015, Garry had become a recognized partner at YC, building critical software projects like Bookface and Demo Day real-time video, while sharpening his skills as a designer, product manager, and engineer. But Garry also had bigger ambitions. In 2012, he co-founded Initialized Capital, an early-stage venture capital firm. What started with a $39 million in 2013, $700 million by 2021. Under his leadership, Initialized became one of Silicon Valley's most respected funds, backing companies like Instacart, Flexport, and Coinbase. The startups it supported together reached a combined market value of over $200 billion. By then, Garry himself had been named to the Forbes Midas list multiple years in a row, ranking as high as #6 in the world. Then came 2022. In August, Y Combinator announced that Garry Tan would return this time as its president and CEO. From January 2023, he came to the Forbes Midas list multiple years in a row, ranking as high as #6 in the world. Then came 2022. In August, Y Combinator announced that Garry Tan would return this time as its president and CEO. From January 2023, he would lead the accelerator that had once helped him as a founder. YC's model was powerful, funding hundreds of startups a year through a selective web application process, with just a 1% acceptance rate. Under Garry's leadership, YC has already nurtured more than 90 companies worth $1 billion each, and every year another 10 to 20 new unicorns emerge. Together, YC-backed startups now have a combined market value exceeding $600 billion. But Garry's story doesn't end in venture capital. In recent years, he has become a sharp political voice in San Francisco. With more than 362,000 Twitter followers and 250,000 YouTube subscribers, he uses his platform to discuss housing, schools, safety, and city governance. Since early 2021, he has donated over $278,000 to political causes. He describes himself as a moderate Democrat, supporting pro-housing groups like YIMBY Action and Grow a Seattle, and pushing for more policing, better schools, and more housing development. His activism goes beyond donations. Garry played a role in recall campaigns against city officials, including the 2022 recall of Progressive District Attorney Chesabuddin. He personally donated $100,000 to the DA recall effort, citing safety concerns, particularly for San Francisco's Asian community. He also rallied tech leaders to become more engaged in local politics, emphasizing issues like substance abuse, education, and public safety. Of course, his political stance has also brought controversy. In 2024, Garry faced backlash after tweeting that he wished death upon 7 out of 11 members of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Though he later apologized, saying it was a rap lyric reference, the criticism was strong. He has also drawn attention for blocking tens of thousands of Twitter accounts, even those of journalists and public figures he had never interacted with. Still, Garry remains deeply influential. He has invested in startups across sectors, from Foundation Health and Perplexity to Nothing, New Limit, Beeper, Instacart, and Gobble. His board roles span companies like Tiger Eye Labs and Mesmo, and he continues to mentor new founders. On the personal side, Garry lives in Noa Valley, San Francisco, with his wife and 2 children. Despite the demands of running YC and managing investments, he has kept a strong connection to the city, both through his political voice and his vision for its future. From his teenage programming experiments to Microsoft, Palantir, Posterous, Initialized, and finally leading Y Combinator itself, Garry Tan has lived multiple lives within the tech world. But perhaps his greatest legacy won't be a single company or investment. Instead, it might be the thousands of startups, founders, and communities his choices have already touched, and the many more still to come.